welcome back to another episode of Toy Tuesdays with Talent. Today's episode, carrying on with X-Men 97 Wave 2, covering Jean Grey. Let's get into it.
Cerebro activate.
Cerebro online.
Please pull up file X-Men 97 Jean Grey 2024.
Accessing file X-Men 97 Jean Grey 2024. Jean Grey, Jean Elaine Grey Summers. First appearance, The X-Men #1, September 1963. Created by Stan Lee, writer, Jack Kirby, artist.
Jean Grey's first appearance was in X-Men #1 in 1963. She is one of the 5 original members of the X-Men. Jean Grey's portrayal in the original animated series was a bit weak. She was always tripping over things and passing out. Fortunately, in 97, like most of the characters, she got a major upgrade. Jean is one of the X-Men that had a very in-depth arc in Season 1. She was faced with questions of whether or not she was a clone, dealing with complicated relationships from Cyclops to Wolverine to discovering she's genetically a mother to a son that isn't really hers. We get to see her at her most vulnerable as well as at her strongest. Cerebro, please pull up the action figure.
Jean Grey, X-Men 97 Wave 2, released in 2024. Retail price, $24.99. Aftermarket price, high, $31.50. Low, $20. Accessories, 2 alternate hands. Alternate head.
Although this figure is not my favorite in the wave, it's still a pretty good action figure. It comes with 2 extra hands and an alternate head, and that's a good start, but it would be nice to get some power effects for Jean. Overall, we've got the wonderful modern articulation with the pinless joints, the paint and sculpt is fantastic, and she definitely looks like she does in the cartoon. This Jean Grey scales a little smaller than previous versions. In my opinion, I prefer her this size to the older action figures. However, I still think they could do better. Not just adding power effects, but something about the hair color seems a little off to me. Maybe like it's a little too orange. But that's really my only complaint. I can confidently say, if you're in the market for a Jean Grey, this is definitely a good buy. Like most of the X-Men 97 figures, you can easily display this Jean Grey with the comic book X-Men 90s figures. Jean had some absolutely incredible moments in Season 1, but I have to say my favorite is Season 1, Episode 9, when she faces off against Mr. Sinister, one-on-one. Sinister does everything in his power to try and confuse and intimidate her, and she doesn't budge a bit. Sinister, being the snake that he is, attacks from the rear and slips in and out of the shadows, afraid to face her head on. In the battle, we get to see a wide range of her telekinetic abilities being put to use in a variety of ways. Throwing psionic blasts using force fields, lifting objects and throwing them with her mind, which is her greatest power. Speaking of powers, let's check out her powers and abilities.
Powers and abilities. Astral projection. Telekinesis. Telepathy. Empathy. S-Phoenix Force. Cosmic pyrokinesis. Matter manipulation. Resurrection. Teleportation. Immortality.
Real quick before I break this down, I just want to clarify when covering Jean Grey, there are 3 different versions. You have pre-Phoenix Jean Grey, you have Phoenix, and you have post-Phoenix Jean Grey, codenamed Phoenix. Since Jean was already the Phoenix in the original animated series, we're covering the latter. If you'd like to understand the difference, check out the Toy Tuesday episode of Phoenix from the Juggernaut Bathwave. With that out of the way, first up on her powers is astral projection. Like most advanced telepaths, she is able to project her consciousness to the astral plane, which is an alternate dimension and an equivalent space to our own. The life energies and consciousnesses of other beings are discernible to those that are adept, which allows them to manipulate not just the astral plane, but their own astral forms, turning their limbs into weapons and growing into great heights or shrinking down to very small sizes. Her next power is telekinesis, which is one of her 3 primary abilities. Her telekinesis allows her to create force fields, lift heavy objects, deliver psionic blasts, levitate, as well as fly. Her second main power is telepathy. I'm pretty sure most people are familiar with telepathy, the ability to read and control minds. Her third main power is empathy. She can feel and manipulate emotions of other people. She can connect to people's minds and feelings and make them feel the pain they've inflicted. Although the Phoenix Force is not fully embodied by Jean at this point, there is always a shard of the Phoenix Force within her, which we saw in X-Men 97. As the Phoenix, she has cosmic pyrokinesis, matter manipulation. Another Phoenix Force power is resurrection, which we get to see firsthand in Season 1, Episode 10. As the Phoenix, she has cosmic pyrokinesis. The Phoenix Force also grants her teleportation and immortality. Lucky for the villains, she's not always actively tuned into the Phoenix Force. Let's take a closer look at her powers and abilities. Cerebro, please pull up the power grid.
Accessing power grid. Analyzing subject.
If you'd like to check out these power grids for yourself on any character, you can check out the Marvel Metal cards or go to marvel.fandom.com. They have their own version of the power grid over there, slightly different, but mostly the same. First category on the grid is Strength. She's at a 2, normal human. Can't argue with that one, although we have to make a caveat. If she's lifting with her mind, she can lift up to 20 tons. But just basing this on her physical strength, yeah, she's a normal human. Next up is Intelligence. She's at a 4, world-class chess champion. She's beyond a straight-A student, and of course she is. She's been a professor at the Xavier Institute for a good portion of her life. She has a master's degree in psychology, which provided excellent training for her telepathy and empathy powers. Being as intelligent as she is, she's led several X-Men teams over the years. Okay, on to speed. She's at a 3. Athletic. Would you look at that? Looks like she can beat Cyclops in a foot race. Like I always say, when any of the X-Men are above average when it comes to speed, strength, stamina, and agility, when it doesn't have to do with a mutant power, I give all credit to training in the danger room. Next category is fighting ability. Also at a 4, heavyweight champ. You already know what I'm gonna say. Plenty of playtime with Wolverine in the danger room will turn just about anybody into a hardened brawler. Next we have stamina. Again at a 4, world record marathon runner. So far, none of these with the exception of maybe intelligence are related to her mutant powers, which says a lot about her as a person. She's dedicated to her life as an X-Man. Alright, on to agility. We have another 4, Olympic gold medalist. This one you could tribute to her being a telekinetic. You can do all sorts of gravity-defying flips, dips, and dodges with the assistance of your telekinesis. Moving on to the final category, energy blast. Her energy projection is at a 5, which is fission, atomic. When she's at her full potential and she lets loose a telekinetic blast, it's like getting hit by an atomic bomb, which makes her potentially one of the deadliest X-Men in physical combat. All that being said, being such a powerful telepath, she often doesn't have to use physical force. Overall, Jean Grey is well above average in most categories, and with the Phoenix Force, has a limitless potential. It was great seeing her in X-Men 97 not being so useless like she was in the original series. In fact, she's essential and an invaluable member of the team. It's pretty safe to say you can put Jean on any team and she will be your most valuable asset. I can't wait to see more of her in season 2. And like always, when we mention X-Men 97, Cerebro, let him know.
Be sure to check out X-Men 97 Reactions with Talent. Don't forget to subscribe.
If you get a chance, go check out the X-Men 97 reactions, and please do like the video and subscribe. It helps out a lot. A quick click for you is a big deal for me, and I appreciate all of you. I'm Talent, the X-centric collector, reminding you, keep collecting, and until next time, Excelsior!